Welcome, everyone, to the Inner Child, Outer Adult podcast. I am Josh, and with me is Megan. And today we are excited to be talking about parenting in the technological world. Something that we all have to face with the ever growing changing of society and how we all face the adversities of having to jump from almost like the Stone Age into this technological Jetsons world.
Yeah.
It's like the Flintstones and Jetsons, right? Um,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't use my first computer until like my sixth grade classroom. And like my kids have never known anything but like we talk about CDs and cassette tapes and like boom boxes. And they're like, what are those? Like,
oh yeah, they're blown away. I talked about 8-track. I remember we had a car that had an 8-track player in it. And so
yeah.
Oregon Trail. We had floppy
Oh,
disks.
yeah. That's come
It
back though. That Oregon Trail's made a comeback.
That's true. We can rent it at the library, and the kids got it one day and they played it, and they were like, "What is this?" And I was like, "This is the game that we played as a kid." And somebody always died along the Oregon Trail. They always caught some kind of disease. They got robbed. They
Right.
hardly ever made it to the end, but when they did, they got so excited on it. Man, things have really changed, and this world has changed a lot. And I know, all have experienced a lot of things through the changes, and we're evolving as our children evolve.
Hmm.
And so tonight we wanted to really touch base on the benefits that are at our fingertips. How can we use technology that's good for, in a way that's good for us, that in a way that
Yeah.
we learn it, we understand it, and how it can be powerful for our kids to understand it, but also respect the growth that comes with it, but the
Yeah.
danger that also follows along with anything that's out there in this world, whether it's physical or digital.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of positives to it. Like my teenager has like an old school flip phone. He does the T9 texting and he thinks it's annoying because all of his friends have smartphones, but his friends think that his phone is like super cool. And I'm like, see, it's not all that bad. But so, like having him carry a cell phone around on him, it allows us to like stay in contact because he's on home studies and like he takes himself to his teacher's appointments, or he'll go to his activities with his church buddies and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, let me know when you get there so I know you made it safe, and then text me when you're on your way home so I can clock you. And I know that, if you don't show up within this amount of time, I need to come looking for you.
Yeah, so see right there, like, it's a huge benefit to have this, within our daily existence,
Yeah.
essentially. But it's teaching them that it's a tool.
Hmm.
That's the one thing I've learned,
Yeah.
because the other things that we want to look at covering is the dangers in the algorithm, creating balance and keeping up communication. So we want to kind of tie all these together with on this episode, with what we're facing. Like with the phones, it's we experienced that with our oldest as well. We got her a phone when she was, I want to say, like 15, 16. We tried the phone thing,
Yeah.
and we found that she was on it all the time.
Hmm.
So we did run into a lot of screen time, but then they're kids, and so they're gonna push the envelope, and the
Yeah.
sneakiness comes with it. So we learned very quickly that it just wasn't time.
Yeah.
So we kind of pulled that away, and we decided, no, we can't do this. And she didn't even get social media until she was, I think, almost 18.
Yeah, we did similarly. He had a smartphone at first, um, because there was once that he got lost in a crowd when he and his dad were out somewhere, and he got really scared, and it scared my husband to death too. So he's like, okay, you're gonna have a phone so that we can always get in contact with each other, and he did have a smartphone at first, and then um, there was some question with getting busted watching, some not good content with his buddies at recess. And so, like, we had to have talk with him about, why this content isn't good. It programs your brain. It was like pornographic Minecraft videos, and I was like, "What? I didn't even know. I didn't even know that that
Yeah.
existed." I was like, "What?
It's on
What?
Roblox too.
It's Minecraft." Like, come on, people, leave something innocent. But yeah, so like we had to have this
Yeah.
whole conversation with him about how, this programs your brain to make things, okay, that aren't. Like, relationships aren't supposed to be that way. It's icky. So, we got him the flip phone. He was not happy. He was not
Oh,
happy at
I bet
first,
not.
but, like,
We
now he gets it, and, like, we told him that we would, like, we'd readdress the smartphone issue when he turned 16, because 'cause we're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
he's good. He has every intention of going on his mission when he turns 18," and we're like, "Okay, they use a lot of social media for that now, so you do need a couple of years of us guiding you on how to use it safely, but we're not talking about it until you're 16." So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We ran into, kind of the similar situation, and she actually, I wanna say she was even younger. She was, I wanna say early, like, I wanna say, like, 12, 13 maybe when this happened,
Mhm.
which to me, it was, like, kind of expected, around that age range to maybe stumble upon something like this.
Yeah.
But, these days, like, it's like 7.5 years old is when they get introduced to porn, and so what's crazy is what we ran into is I wanna say it was, like, maybe on a tablet that she was on, but she looked up, like, sex with Justin Bieber that's what we ran into, and it was like, "Where did you learn about something like this?" Which
Yeah.
her friend at school, come to find out, so it was outside influence. But that also, like, just opened up our eyes a lot to, like, we have to be very careful, and they're just not developed and ready for certain things. You have to have certain restrictions, so it's been
Well,
just
and even it's even a problem, like, it's something that you have to keep a really close eye on, even with their school devices, because the schools check out the Chromebooks and the
Mhm.
tablets now, and, they have the IT, departments that lock down the devices, and they're not supposed to be able to access, like, certain types of content, but, like, even when I was, still in the classroom, like, 6 years ago, um, we had problems with students finding way around that, hacking their way around it, and then teaching that to all of their little friends. And my younger son, I got an email from his principal, and they sent me like the IT log of his search history, and it was all porn. And I was like, how is he downloading this? This kid doesn't even know what a flash drive is. Like, it's just outdated technology. Come to find out, once we had a really serious talk with him, his buddies had taught him how to hack around the IT protection from the school district, and his friends were standing around talking about naked women at school. So he just typed in naked women, and you know, and luckily, he surfed for about like 10 minutes. But, when we were talking to him, we're like, okay, well, how did it make you feel to look at those images? And he's like, I'm uncomfortable. Like, and we're like, good, like, and then I had to pose the question to him. I was like, okay, buddy, I understand that your friends at school are doing this thing, but this is the conversation that we've had before, where it's just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean it's the safe or the smart or the right thing to do. And it can be really, really hard to be the one that opts out. But let me put it to you this way. How would you feel if your buddies were standing around and they were talking about your sister the same way they were talking about those other women? And he like got instantly angry. He's like, "Oh, I'd like take them out." And I was like, "Yeah, every woman in those videos is somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's like, and you
Yeah.
don't know, and especially nowadays, you don't know if they actually even gave their consent for
Yeah.
those things. So it's a very slippery slope."
And, a lot of it's because, like, it's been normalized so much
Mhm.
in our society and culture. You have, like, when you do research online, they put this clickbait
Yeah.
into certain things that you're searching, and it looks innocent at first, but then it takes you down these rabbit holes where eventually it
Mhm.
gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's easy to access. It's right there. It's in movies, it's in cartoons, there's innuendos in
Yeah.
everything, really, and one of
It's
the
not
worst
hard to
ones.
find, like, at all.
It's not, and it's in video games, really strong. And I was there's Grand Theft Auto is one of the, like,
Oh,
worst ones,
yeah.
because did you know that you can pull up, pick up a prostitute, go to the alley,
I
get hit
did.
get
I
dropped off?
knew people who were hugely into that game back when it was, like, 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3, and I'm just like,
And the graphics have just gotten better and better and better, and it's gotten raunchier and raunchier. I used to love playing it, and I would probably enjoy still playing it in some ways because I didn't care about that part of it.
yeah,
But it's just so normalized because even some of the loading screens are, it's like, and I love art in from down in Arizona, and this from California. You have those
yeah.
lowrider magazines.
Mhm.
Those covers have the women, they're in bikinis, they're on
Posing with the cars and
yeah,
yeah,
you have a lot of that as even your loading screens on video games too.
yeah.
So you're experiencing that. So it's everywhere. And so it's just so easy to fall into that, and
Mhm,
we have to be very careful because we we program our own algorithm.
mhm.
And I know you see that, I see that when like
Yeah.
you're on TikTok or YouTube,
And the
because
commercials and the ads are magically targeted to things that you're interested in.
exactly. So, eventually it gets put in front of you, but that's also a good way to know, what your kids are looking at because
Yeah.
they might erase their search history,
But that
but
ad algorithm is gonna show, like, what they've been searching and what they've been clicking on, because that
it,
I mean, that's somebody else's server.
yeah,
You can't erase that.
it's like the back
So
door, right?
mhm.
Yeah. So when Sherry and I were in Ohio, we were visiting her brother, and he was taking his son to they were trying to get him into school, but they were like trying private schools.
Yeah.
And so, and I want to say he was like 7, 8 at the time, like he was young.
Yeah.
And they took him to one private school, and I believe it was like a Catholic school.
Mhm.
And while he was there, they were having him do an aptitude test to see where what level is he at, where would he fit in.
Yeah.
And it's technological world, so they have him sitting in front of a computer, and they told him, okay, here's the program, this is what you're going to do, and we'll come back and check on you.
Yeah.
Well, the lady comes back, and he in the midst of her being gone, he decides, I don't want to do this aptitude test anymore. So he first got found a workaround on how to get out of it, how to find the video games that were on the computer. So now he got himself into the video game area and got onto the internet. And then before he started playing, he actually decided he was hungry, went to the teacher's lounge, found some food, came back, sat down, and then started playing video games. So when they came back, she was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "I was bored, so I'm playing games." And she's like, "How did you do that?"
That's
Like,
that's interesting because, like, I know that when I was working in the school setting and, we had any kind of testing to do, like, aptitude testing or, like, state testing or anything else, like, they're not supposed to be unsupervised because they can hack it and cheat, like, so it's
right?
we
It's
had
like,
this really handy we had this really handy, like, technology program where we could open it up and see everything that was going on all of our students' screens and even, like, freeze it and close their Chromebook down with just the click of a button, I really enjoy the parental apps that do that as well because
right? It's crazy. Like in that moment, like it's like you can't even be mad at him. It's like, damn, I was impressed actually when I heard that, and it's like to me, it's like you should probably because he likes playing video games. Like he's very
Yeah,
into tablets. It's like you should probably maybe mentor him towards the direction of like video game development or coding or something
yeah,
like of that nature. But it's crazy because I was reading a study that was saying that most kids by the age of 3 It used to be 6, but 3, they actually have a device in hand, and they're proficient at using it,
Mhm.
which is it's true. I've seen it,
Yeah.
and, it's
Like
like
I
my
had I had my son had like a little iPad mini when he was little, and I had like educational games loaded up on there that I knew about like from work, you know. But yeah, by the time he was 3
yeah.
years old, he could maneuver in and out of those games like nothing.
Oh, yeah, there's times I'll be on YouTube, and I'm like, "Why isn't this working?" And Carly, she's 10, "Well, what are you trying to do?" "I'm trying to do this." She walks over, "Doot, doot, doot,
Click,
doot,"
click,
and
click,
she's like,
click,
"There you
click,
go."
bing.
And it's like, "Can you go slower next time so I can see what you're doing at least?" It's
Right?
like
Like
it's crazy.
teach me the steps.
It's
Um, well, and we also have to remember that like kids kids are, I mean, I know I was when I was younger, like I was a lot more compulsion driven. Like I got an idea and boom, I went after it. Like, you know, it's that instant gratification, and technology can be addictive, especially like video games and like all these things, because it feeds that it feeds that same like serotonin need. And I mean, even as adults, like how often do we immediately check our phone every time a notification goes off?
yeah. And, it's like that you get that dope, the serotonin, the dopamine, like, you get that whole chemical mixture of all of it through it, because we're like adults, like you said, adults are the same way, and it's funny you say that about the serotonin and everything because when you play, like, fighter shooter games, like Call of
Mhm.
Duty, Fortnite, action games like that, there was
Yeah.
this study they did, and it actually activates the same part of the brain that gets activated in a military soldier when he's in combat. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
get yeah, so they get that same, you know, adrenaline and the dopamine and everything else that rolls into it. And then after they're done playing, it takes them anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to come back down to a neutral state, depending on what they
Yeah.
do afterwards.
Well, and there's so many games out there. No, I mean, don't get me wrong, people. I love gaming. I am an RPG
Oh,
fiend. You put an RPG in front of me and I am like the happiest little duck in the world. Like I
I
just,
love
you know,
Call of Duty.
I love, yeah, like my
Like,
boys play, you know, Call of Duty, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it's a bit violent, but this is real life. Like this is what war looks like, and you need to understand that it's not always, you know, like a fun thing."
yeah. You gotta teach
But
them.
like things have gotten so graphic and so bloody and gory. Like you know, they came out with that new Mortal Kombat game, and my husband and I were like, "Oh my gosh, Mortal Kombat. We used to play that in the arcade. That's so cool." Like, and then we go and watch the preview and we're like, "Never mind." Never mind, because it was just so graphic, and I'm like, Why? Why
Yeah,
why does it have to be that graphic?" Like, I understand, like, for adults and stuff, but kids are gonna play these games too.
yeah, it's so realistic anymore. There's one that's new. It's called Evil Dead, and
Yeah,
I was watching trailers on it, and yeah, same thing. It's just very gory and graphic, and like I love
it's
playing
bad.
Resident Evil, and I like games like that.
Yeah.
But there's that age limit, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what like we have such a diverse age gap in our house because we have like
Yeah.
10, 14, and 19. Mars 19, and she's kind of
Yeah.
yeah, she's pretty much at that age where it's like you can kind of like view whatever you wish to view at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but then like our 14-year-old and 10-year-old, we have to be careful because they both can't watch the same movies. They both can't,
Right.
view the same things, play the same games, so we have to be careful to either not allow him to experience his own because of
Yeah.
her, or we need to keep that segregation so they don't get influenced so much by it. Because I don't know if you've ever watched the show Young Sheldon.
Yes.
Yeah, like
That
it's
show's hilarious.
it is. It really is. But it's like, but then once it started progressing and hitting like the puberty stage,
Mhm.
then like Carly's watching it and now she's like stressing about puberty. And it's like, wow, like you're not even close to having puberty. But now it's like I see her going through it and it's just like
Yeah.
it's
We've had to have the the puberty talk because we've got our oldest that's already going through it and our younger two that are like right on the cusp. Like we can see the signs that we're like, oh boy, it's coming, like um
Right, right, but it's like you don't wanna introduce it to them before they're ready for it or before it's,
right.
like, needed, so it's just
Like
you gotta be
they yeah, like,
careful.
they watch some shows like that Turning Red show or that Turning Red
Oh,
movie
yeah.
on Disney. They love that movie, and, like, we got to have a conversation about, the subtle themes and the real messages that they were this movie is about puberty, it's about trying to figure out who you are, but still being part of your family unit. It's,
Yeah.
but we often throw like the recommended age limits out because it's not about how old they are, it's about their mental and emotional
Yeah.
maturity level. Like our
Exactly.
oldest, he's really really capable of like compartmentalizing and recognizing that okay, I'm watching something scary and creepy, but this is all make believe, it's all CGI and stage makeup and everything else, and I can still see this happen in real life and be shocked and horrified and repulsed that someone would actually choose to do something like really violent or horrible like that. Whereas
Yeah.
my younger two are very emotionally sensitive. And while my oldest can watch, aliens and predators and Stranger Things and the Terminator and, like my the littles, they're not ready for that because it's really hard for them to compartmentalize. And my younger son, like he even has a hard time telling the difference between animation and real and live action. Sometimes like we'll ask him, is this animation or live action? He'll say live action, and we're like, no, it's actually just really good animation. So it's like
Yeah. It's important for them to understand the message that's in it. Totally agree with that. But we can't just let the movie be just what the message is, and
yeah,
without helping them understand what they took away from it,
yeah,
right? And it's like we can ask them, what did you learn from this? What was the message behind it? But we help them walk to the resolution of what it means, so
right,
that way it's not just the surface level of it, or they're not just identifying with what they're learning outside in society, school, their other influences, and what everybody else is telling them, but really helping them form their own opinion on what they perceive from it.
right,
But just help guide them to that direction of it is very important, because I remember growing up, my parents, they there were certain movies they wouldn't let us watch.
yeah,
One of them that I remember was Natural Born Killers. They were like, "You'll never watch that one until you get older." But for the most part, they were pretty open to letting us watch movies, but they were very clear on the message of none of this is real. These are
yeah,
just actors. This is just makeup. This is just stage. So they made that message very clear, which I think helped us not be overly influenced by certain
yeah,
movies and shows,
hmm,
but we run into like this day and age of just the vast variety of the internet is so influential that it's it's so important for us as parents to be able to teach our kids not necessarily what an app does, but what the app is, how the app is being utilized.
and the risks to
And they're
to to look out and be aware of, because
yes.
like just because the app is programmed to be used a certain way, that doesn't mean that that's how everybody uses it. And there's a lot of predators out there that use it for horrible, harmful
Yes.
purposes.
Did you know that there was a kids Tinder?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the app is called Likely, and it is supposed to be like TikTok and with short videos, but
Hmm.
there's short videos of basically them putting themselves out there on this teen dating site, and that's how you connect with each other. It's not what it was intended for, but
Yeah.
that's what it's being used for. It's crazy because like I was doing some research. You have TikTok and Instagram, which everybody
Yeah.
knows what those are. The
Mhm.
number one out of every app is YouTube,
Yeah,
and
YouTube
98 yeah,
is
98%
utilized a
of
lot.
98% of teens use YouTube, and 50% of them say that they have to be on there daily.
Yeah,
So,
I really limit my kids on the YouTube. Like they have
oh
to
yeah,
watch it in the living room on the family TV where we can see what they're
yeah,
streaming. They usually have to get permission to log on because I don't want them just jumping onto it. And they have to tell me what they're going to be watching,
yeah,
so that I know um, what the content's going to be, because even the video game and even the gamers, that live stream their games, like the conversations that they have, or
mhm,
or the way that they play the game, it can be highly disturbing and inappropriate. And
and a lot
there
of
was
them are like,
also there was also what was it, a few years ago? It happened over COVID. And I know, or right before COVID, it happened like right before COVID. There was this guy who was wearing this like really creepy, monsterish Halloween mask, and he was going into the YouTube Kids and like putting these awful videos in the middle of like cartoon episodes.
yeah, I do
And
remember that.
like there were a couple of kids that like committed suicide because of like the content and what he was saying during these videos. And I remember we, we were in Las Vegas on our honeymoon at the time, or no, not honeymoon, anniversary. We went for an anniversary trip. We left the kids with
Nice,
grandma and grandpa. We took off, got out of town. We're like, yay, let's go play the adult way.
right?
It was an awesome trip, except for, everything getting shut down as we were there. But but I remember I was, just scrolling through. We were sitting down, having lunch, just kind of chilling, in between activities, and I stumbled across an article about it. And so I showed it to Scotty, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if Ender has seen this. So we immediately called my son, and we're like, hey, we just saw this article. We're going to email it to you. We want you to read it. Have you seen this guy on YouTube? And he's like, yeah, actually, I have seen a couple of like the video covers that have him in it, but he gives me the creeps and I've stayed away from it. And I was like, good. Don't watch
Yeah,
those videos, because here's what's going on with that. And this is a danger. This is a risk.
yeah, and
So,
a lot of the like when I've watched the littles kind of watch the Roblox or Minecraft tutorials,
mhm.
it's a lot of times it's men 18 or up because you can
Yeah.
tell by their voice of
Yeah.
who's doing it. So, to me, I do find that a little disturbing
Yeah.
that is who is mentoring our kids. We're not somebody who's like just a few years older than them, but several years older, and those are the things we have to look out for. But there was apps I didn't even know about. Um,
Yeah.
Snapchat's another one, YouTube. There's another one called Be Real. Have you heard of that one?
I have heard of it
It shame
briefly.
it
Yeah.
shames you for not posting, and
Yeah,
then
that's like,
it publicly humiliates you when you do post it, being late.
well, and
Like,
there's already so much social pressure involved in like social media, and like, statistics show that levels of depression and anxiety and eating disorders and suicide rates have just skyrocketed, because like they're
yeah,
fed this very specific, you know, rhetoric of what they need to be to fit in, and it's
yeah.
awful.
If you ever, if your kids are playing online and you ever hear somebody tell them, "Kick me at," then
Mm,
beware of that one because there's another app called Kick where they get them to come over to. The thing is, there's nothing recorded over there. So, like the IP address, the phone, like the phone that's being used, none of that's tracked. And so, like law enforcement they can't do anything to
yeah.
have any traceability, and so there's questionable people in this world who are luring others over into this Kick app to be able to conversate with them and meet up and things like that too. And then there was another one that that was thrown out there, which was called Yik Yak, and
Yeah.
it's to find your God, I wrote these down. It's to
Yeah.
find your herd is what it is. Like yaks, the animal, and what it does though is it shows other yik yackers with that are within 5 mile radius of you.
Yeah, so
So
then they know that, like, you're easy to access.
yeah, it's like, oh, I have a child that's like within a 5 mile radius of me, and it kind of like shows me where they're at, and we can meet up. Like, it's such a devious way for bad things to happen, which is like, it's just so important that we play a very active part in our
Yeah.
kids' social life, and we also are just very aware of the apps that are being used, how they're being used, not what does the app do. That's like, yeah, okay, it does this, this, and that, but it's like really how is it being utilized,
Yeah.
and so it's I myself, I play Roblox with the kids every now and then, or Minecraft.
Mhm.
Minecraft not as much because they kind of play on their own server, but on
Yeah.
Roblox, I'll jump in there and see what the chat's like, just to kind of like monitor it. But if you have the ability to have private servers, fully recommended it because that's the best way to keep your kids safe when
Yeah,
it comes
my
to online
kids
playing.
my kids play Minecraft a lot, and I play with them because I was the original Minecraft generation. So and I still enjoy it. I don't do, like, all the PvP or everything. I like going in there and building, like, really big fancy houses and all these intricate buildings, and, I get all artistic with it, and then my kids are like, "How did you do that?" And I'm like, I may put the
Right?
blocks down slower than you, but I use them in a cool way." But, they have their private servers and they have their approved friends on their systems, and they'll go in and play on each other's servers. But I put the foot down at, like, no, you're not going into the public servers. I know they look cool. I know that your other friends may, but you can't control who's in there, and people on the internet aren't always who they say they are. And we don't even like go there with Roblox and Fortnite because like the chat is non-optional. So like if it's a
Yeah.
game where the chat is non-optional, then like we don't even go there. Like I'm just like, nope, if like you can be in contact with a total stranger, then it is not a safe game.
Is there like
So
an age that you feel maybe we can test the water with that?
yeah, I probably around the same time that I would allow them to have a smart device and be on social media because
So,
we've
like, again,
gotten
not
into we've gotten into some scrapes, well, not scrapes, but just situations that we've found the kids in, like sneaking out of bed and being on the PlayStation and talking with total strangers, and then we look at the chat history of these total strangers and they're asking probing questions, and the kids are giving away important information without even realizing that it is dangerous to give this information away. And then even things that would seem like completely innocuous, like Spotify. You would think, okay, Spotify is totally safe. It's just a music streaming app. But you can, like follow people around. And one of ours was on Discord, which Discord was a no-no
Mm.
because we're like, nope, that's chat with strangers. And
Uh-huh.
he was talking to all these people, and one of them was saying that she was a teenage girl, and then a couple of others were like teenage boys, and I was like, but you don't know who these people are, and that's a common tactic that predators use, is pretending to
Yeah.
be like another teenager. So we deleted his Discord account. He'd
We
he'd um he'd made friends with a couple of these people and followed them on Spotify, and so then they were using the descriptions of their shared playlists to communicate back and forth, and one of these people set up a new account and gave him the login information to get into this new Discord account, because like the one that
mm,
he had connected to his cell phone, we took charge of, like,
yeah.
so it was scary because we're like, buddy, you have no idea what this person's real intentions are.
We just kind of went to the same, like a similar situation. I just actually had a conversation with our son today about it because he has Discord also, which I kind of just
Yeah.
just found this out. Like, there's no perfect parent, right? So
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so it's like
hard. It's hard to keep up with it because it takes like 5 seconds
yeah,
to
I didn't even know he
create
knew
an
how.
account on these places,
Yeah,
and they're smart.
I
Kids
didn't
are
even know he
smart.
knew how,
Like, they'll
you
log into
know?
the guest account on the Google browser because, like, it doesn't really track you. It's the guest, and
Right?
I'm just like,
You know, the good thing is at least I do he's at least innocent and honest. Like, I'll
yeah.
give him that. You know, and he has a Discord account because there's 2 games that he plays
Mhm.
that which one of them is Blood Strike, which I play that with him too, and there's no chat on there. It's like a drop in Fortnite slash Call of Duty kind of thing. Um, you know, so but there's no chat, there's no talking. He actually doesn't ever talk to anybody on there,
Yeah.
but he is following that game on Discord, but then he was also is on there with another Asphalt 9 and a
Oh, yeah,
buddy.
my kids play that game.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a friend of his that's from Roblox that is also I found this out on Discord and has been talking to him on Discord. Well, I've been doing like a lot of just kind of thinking and reflecting and looking and watching and
Yeah.
investigating. And I've just putting a lot of pieces together because also kids abbreviate things now. 'Cause the
Mhm.
kids will be playing and they're like, "Oh, we're duping this and duping that," and I'm like, "What's dupe?" And they're like, "Duplicate." He was like, "You lazy ass
Yeah.
bastards!" Like, come on.
Say the whole word.
Like, I gotta learn a whole new language here. Like, they were saying AFK the other day, and I'm like, "What the hell's AFK?" And they're like, "Away from keyboard."
That one I know. That
I
that
was
one I
like,
know.
"All right." So, but
Like,
there, this,
I had to get an explanation on what is it, like Riz or something? Like what that is, and it's like your, charisma
oh,
level,
nuh-uh.
like, yeah, like like, they'll have like, there's another word that goes with it. It's like, something Riz, and it means that, like, because I have a friend that still works in the public school setting, and she was saying, oh yeah, if they say this Riz, then it means they have awesome charisma. If they say this Riz, then it means like they're the geek, they're the, no, don't hang out with this person. And I'm like, oh, the
It's
words
all
don't
about
make
the
sense. Like,
tone of how you say it. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like so this guy that he's been talking to, well, this supposed 15-year-old he's been talking to supposedly in London, is like been banned from Roblox a couple of times because he's hacked into the server and he may be smart enough to do this. I don't know. And he's hacked into the server and he's figured out how to like duplicate things, how to like get basically all this shit that you normally would have to pay for. Like he's able to just have all of it for free.
I
And
believe
he's
it.
yeah, I
I
I
believe
believe that
it.
that can happen, right? And so, like, I was asking him, like, I was just talking to him in casual conversation, about what they talk about on Discord, and he was
Yeah.
just like, we talk about the game," So it's like they just talk about Lumber Tycoon is what they play on Roblox. And so
Okay.
they talk about Lumber Tycoon and then they talk about like the other games that they play too. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm up in this like balance of myself right now of like Jesus Christ, like is this somebody like that is like he really should not be talking to, or
Yeah,
like
because you
is it
never
legitimately like a
know.
15-year-old and like he actually has a friend that he can connect with? Like it's so
You never know. You never know. I heard a couple of stories about, like, child trafficking. Like, there was this one boy who was talking to someone on, like, the PlayStation chat, and it got so far as to where, like, there was a signal that, like, he'd call and hang up, and, like, that was the signal for the boy to, like, call him back or get in contact or whatever, and, like, the kid let this dude into their house before the dad found
yeah.
out about it in the middle of the night. And then there was another one about this, teenage girl on Instagram where, she was being coerced to send, like, you know, nude pictures of herself, and she was being trafficked right under her parents' nose in her own home.
Yeah. That's why it's just so important to be aware of like what they're utilizing, and like we think that they're mature and they're ready, but let's be real, most adults are gonna take advantage of a situation if they can get away with it. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, every kid's at a different level. You have to really evaluate your kids by, like, knowing how I know them because I am their parent. Are they
Yeah.
ready? Do they have the skills to stand up for who they are and what they believe in the face of this kind of adversity or this kind of temptation or this kind of like
Yeah.
seduction method? Like,
And even if you trust them and you can fully trust them, but it's still wise to continuously check up on them because it's ever evolving. It's not going to
yeah,
ever change. And there's always might be somebody that pops in and can just say the right thing to them at the right moment to get their attention.
yeah,
Because sometimes when our kids jump on games, just like adults might jump on games or music or whatever, we dive into the world of the internet when we feel emotional. I
yeah.
mean, right?
It's
Like
it's a
we
good detach, but that's not, like, always a good idea, and it's like it's not
right.
my kids that I don't trust, it's what's out there and,
Yeah.
how
And
other people are using it that I don't
yeah.
trust.
And let's say our kid had a bad day.
Mhm.
They were at school, they had a bad day at school, they came home, and they wanted to talk to you, but you're busy, and so they
Yeah.
didn't they couldn't talk to you, so they're sitting in the emotion, and they're just like, "I'm just gonna go play a game and forget it." And so
Mhm.
they jump online, and then all of a sudden, somebody pops on, and, they start talking to them, and they're the vent, they're the shoulder to cry on, and
Yeah.
that's the opening for them, and that's all they need. That's how kids got sucked into gangs. That's how, the whole world has gone around about sucking the younger generations in,
Yeah.
and that's where we're at in this day and age. So it's just so important for us to be aware of
Yeah.
what's happening, aware of our child's algorithms, what they're looking up, what their history is. Our own ignorance of technology is not an excuse, and it can't be an excuse because if we don't know, then our children are vulnerable.
Yeah, like,
And
I know I got in trouble. I got into a few internet situations where, I had people sending me inappropriate photographs, and I was in chat rooms that I really shouldn't have been in, back in the AOL age where you had to wait for, 5 minutes for your computer to scream at you while it connected.
right?
But it's like,
And if
you
somebody
know,
called, it disconnected you.
yeah, and it was so easy to find that stuff back then, and the web has, like, grown exponentially since then,
Yeah.
so it's like, how much easier is it to find nowadays? Well, nowadays, you don't have to wait 60 seconds for a page to load. It goes bing, and then
Yeah.
everything's in front of your eyes, so it's
And all you have to do is hold down the Google app and you'll have your choice of regular Google or incognito. And it's
mhm.
as simple as that. And with incognito, if you don't do your due diligence, everything's gone and you
Yeah,
don't know what's happening, and so we just have to be very aware. And it's crazy because America, it has some of the poorest quality of law when it comes to protecting the safety of our children online. It's
yeah,
just there's nothing there to stop these tech giants, these social media giants, and even the game developers from having the over influence of the younger generations. Because in China, because TikTok, the whole China bite dance TikTok, thing, right?
yeah,
So China does not have their TikTok is different than America's TikTok. Theirs is called something else. They're not allowed to be on American TikTok. They're not allowed to see what's on it. But you know what China's TikTok consists of?
it's like,
Empower
how-tos and
empowerment,
yeah.
skill development, falling in line, which I'm not really sure if, like, that one's like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
maybe on that one, and supporting of others.
Yeah.
Like, that is what is allowed on their social media. Like, you can post this kind of stuff,
Mhm.
nothing else, which is insane because I didn't even know this, but TikTok has a porn site of it. I didn't
Oh, yeah,
like,
like, you can post anything. It's
I didn't realize that there was, like, that part of it. I was actually pretty
well,
curious
and
about
that's the scary part is, like, nowadays, like, that kind of content, it's so, like, just accepted because it's slowly, integrated itself into all kinds of media that, like, yeah, you can find that anywhere. You can find it on
Yeah.
Reddit, you can find it on, any Discord, you can find it on Facebook and Instagram and like any of these places.
Yeah, I mean, and they start and do introducing it, in like elementary school now.
Mhm.
And so it's out there, and I don't know, we just have to be very careful of what we do, how we do it, when we do it, and just be there for them, because we we really lose touch with each other when we can't communicate face to face, and we feel like we have to communicate over devices. Our the average teen is on the screen for 11 hours a day.
Yeah,
That's a lot of time.
it is.
But the average teen also wishes that their parents were on the screen less, and
Yeah,
would force them to be on their screen less, because a lot of them have hard time sleeping at night because they're too busy with the screen on, and they're
right.
addicted to it.
Well,
You
and,
know,
like, lack of protective laws aside, like, ultimately, the responsibility falls on us to teach our children how to use these things, safely and responsibly because they're wonderful tools. I mean, my son's been teaching himself guitar by watching beginners videos on YouTube, and, he does it in the living room, just, he follows the rule and everything, but it's
yeah.
about, what are you watching? What's the content? Is it content that you should be watching? Why is this good content? Why is this bad content? Like have conversations about it. Like we'll be watching a movie together and the kids will, start asking questions or making comments and we'll pause the movie to have a quick discussion about it, you know, and be, okay, teaching moment and then we'll let the movie roll on. And then the other half of that is balance because like when we were kids, I spent all day playing outside. I didn't have access to a computer
Oh,
or the
yeah.
internet or any of that until I was like a teenager. So, I spent the majority of my childhood outside running wild like a hooligan. So, you know, but
We use our
they've
imagination.
never not known a world where, entertainment was available at the click of a button. Like,
Yeah, or "Hey Google," "Hey Siri," "Hey Alexa." I mean, we didn't
yeah,
have any of that. Like you, I spent my time either in my room playing with GI Joes, occasional video
yeah,
game, but it wasn't online, or I was outside playing football, basketball, digging holes in the dirt,
yeah.
whatever. And our creativity was there. And
Hmm.
we are in an era now where, creativity is AI, and
Yeah,
the creativity is in the screen rather than in the physical world. And
yeah,
so we also, there was a study that was showing, that a lot of kids these days don't even learn how to, try to memorize things, like how
yeah,
we did with flashcards and stuff, because
yeah.
their mentality is, why, when I can just Google it.
Back in the
Which
day, we had the Dewey Decimal System, and you had to really track your crap down because, like, the librarian was my best friend, man. Because
right?
I wasn't about to mess with the numbers and the decimals, and I was like, dude, I just want a book that has this in it, you know.
It's like, "This is what I'm looking for."
So I was on very good terms with the librarian at any school or college that I went to. Like I'd walk in and they'd be like, "Hey, Megan, what you looking for today?" Well, today here's my list.
You're right.
But
It's like,
nowadays
"Here's your code to find it."
all they have to do is type a question into a Google search bar, ask the Alexa, and they get all
Yeah.
the information right there. It's like how many phone numbers do we actually still have memorized because like we have electronic phone books now. Like if my phone died, like I know my husband's number and that's about it.
I
So
know
I'd
mine and
like
Sherry's.
I know mine, I know my
Yeah.
husband's. Like
Same. Yeah, I used to have all kinds of numbers in my head. But, it's like, but is that good or bad? Right? Because does it make room to learn other things? Like, are you not taking up space so you can, fill it with other stuff? Or are those good habits to let go and let AI just kind of have it and be like, okay, like it's here, it's not going anywhere. I
I think there needs to be a balance in that too. Like we do have the technology at our hands, but what was to happen if we were in a situation where we didn't have it? Like that ability
yeah.
to memorize and recall is still like really important. I think one of my greatest sources of shame is I used to be a phenomenal speller. I have a degree in English literature and I am so reliant on spell check. It's ridiculous now.
You know, it's yeah. Same way. I do find myself going to Google and typing in certain words to be like to spell check
Yeah.
myself.
Right.
Is
I do. I
it?
go search it on like dictionary.com. Like, am I spelling this right? If the Google search recognizes it, I've gotten it right. If not, they will usually tell me what the word is that I'm really looking for.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I gotta
I
try to throw
think
some light on here.
yeah, and then like that balance, like 11 hours on a
Yeah.
screen is a lot of time.
I I
And
I find myself like I've caught myself doing this. And I've
yeah,
been trying to stop doing it as much, but I'll get bored. And what's the first thing I do? I go for my phone.
pop open your phone. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've been
Go check
trying.
the latest feed.
Yeah, so I've been trying to I keep apps, like, off my phone,
Mhm.
ones that won't distract me as much, so I'm trying to, like, weed those out,
Yeah.
but also I have a couple games that I play on there, and I've been trying to not play them as much,
Yeah.
but I've been when I feel bored, instead of, like, trying to grab my device and open it and finding something to do in it, I've been either sitting in it or trying to find something else, or,
Yeah.
so or if I need a device, what do I need it for? Like, I'm going for
Yeah.
something specific, something direct. This is what I need it for. Otherwise, just kind of let it be. So I've
Yeah.
been trying to like have that tool relationship with it with for myself,
Yeah.
because I know that that's also showing the kids like this is what it's for. Because if they see us on social media just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling
Mhm.
and doing nothing, then they're gonna just think, well, shit, that's okay. Like, I'll do
Yeah.
that too. So
I've been doing the same thing. I've been really trying to cut back on my technology use. I mean, I jump on social media a few times a day just to check notifications because I have my business pages on there and I'm trying to keep content going for my followers and stuff. And I'll take a few minutes to scroll through and watch a couple of reels or something. And if I find something really funny that the kids will appreciate, like I show it to them. I'm like, look at this. This is so funny, or this is so cute. Um, but and trying to reduce that time that I'm spending on my phone, and instead I'm playing video games with them, or I'm crocheting, or the one thing that I will
yeah,
do is I read on my phone a lot, like an ebook or something. um but and then like trying to watch like how much time we're spending on the internet. Like I instituted a
yeah,
new guideline this summer. I was like, okay, I don't want you on the tech until noon. Like the rule is already, you have to have your responsibilities done for the day before you access the screens. But I was like, don't get on until after lunchtime. Use your morning for other things. It's not as hot outside. You can go out and play. You can read a book. You can play Legos. You can, my oldest has been learning guitar. I mean, technically, he's still using YouTube for that, but he doesn't have a guitar teacher, and he's sitting there, like actually physically
it's a tool.
interacting with an instrument. So that I'm like, okay, that doesn't count. That doesn't
Yeah,
count as tech time, you know.
yeah,
And then they get 2 hours. Like, I mean, it's the summer right now, and it's wicked hot out in the afternoon. So, like, in the afternoons after they've had lunch and they've spent their morning doing other things, and they've been really good about that. Like, I've seen them doing art, and I've seen them writing, and I've seen them, like engaging in all of these other activities so that they're getting, lots of different forms of feedback and input in what they're doing with their day. My daughter has been a reading fiend this summer, and I love it. Um, but
we
they get 2 hours a day to do whatever they want:
yeah,
video games, tablet, a TV show that they want to watch, and then in the evening, we might watch a family movie together just to wind down, like before bed. And they have to like really decide, like, okay, how do I want to use my time today because I don't have unlimited time. And if I use it all up and then decide that there was something else I really wanted to do, oh crap, I have to wait till tomorrow, you know? Like,
Yeah, right? It helps them build with decision making,
hmm.
boundaries, responsibilities. Like, we locked them out from like 1 to 5 is their window of operation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's locked out, and that way they can't sneak into it. Can't get into it. Like, just don't leave the temptation there for them is
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And it's like it doesn't mean you play for 4 hours from 1 to 5. It just means
Yeah.
that
No,
this is your
that's your
window.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, and we run into the same thing. It's like, oh, when they get done, they're like, "Oh, I wanted to do this," or it's like, "No, it doesn't work like that."
Yeah, and I
It's like,
prefer them to put, like, the tablets and stuff away because, like, they were trying to do this thing where, like, we're watching a family movie, but they're still on their tablet, and I'm like, "No,
yeah,
a family movie is a family movie, put the tablet away, you know, we're supposed to be doing this together, you don't need to be on 2 forms of feedback
yeah,
at the same time." And the other thing that I love, they have the Amazon, Kids tablets, is I can set a shut-off time
mhm,
because they were sneaking them to bed and staying up all night, you know, watching cartoons or playing video games, and then they wouldn't get up for school in the morning. And so I went on and I, you know, like checked the times that they're playing because that's the other thing that I love about the parental control apps is I can see what time they played and exactly like what they were doing. And so I set the timer so that like it shuts down at 8 o'clock because 8 o'clock is bedtime on a school night, and like it
yeah,
won't wake back up until 8 the next morning. So
yeah. So you're not getting away.
yeah, like it stopped that like dead. And
Yeah.
then like with their Chromebooks, they check their Chromebooks into me at night and I charge them in my room. Like
See, it's smart because the thing is, it's like temptation is always there.
hmm.
We are the ones that have to be responsible, whether to remove the temptation so that way it's
Yeah.
not there. And that's the one thing that I've had to learn along this way too. It's just, when you don't have those boundaries in place in the first place, and you are starting to realize how important it is to have these boundaries in your life, and you do decide to take the uh, freedom that they had away from them, and you kind of take back control of it, you're going to get resistance. They're going to be
Yeah.
mad. They're going to be upset. They might even detox and seem like zombies, or just literally detox is the best word for it because I'm sure we've
Yeah.
all seen it.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't live without
I
it.
can't live without it.
Like,
Yeah, and I've
oh,
had to sit down and have talks with them about that and be like, "Look, you know, we've talked about this with drugs and substances and you know, all these other things that are very addictive out in the world. The video games can be addictive
yeah.
too. And I'm seeing this and I'm seeing this and I'm seeing this,
Like, you
and
can't walk
that's
away.
concerning to me
Yeah.
because that's addictive behavior. So talk to me about what's going on. Why is this like such a need?" That
Yeah.
it's you know, and they gave me a lot of you know, they gave me a lot of pushback at first because they were like, what, we don't want to, you know, I don't want to go outside. Well, then
Yeah.
find something to do inside, you know, like it's healthy to be
Yeah.
bored. Like
Right? Well,
it
it's
is
like it's
actually good for your brain to experience a little bit of boredom because it stimulates your creativity and it stimulates your thinking. And you know, but now it's like, you know, I get forgetful. I have cognition problems every once in a while. And so like, you know, I'll forget to say, you know, turn in your, you know, put your stuff away, give me your Chromebooks so I can charge them. And they'll bring them to me and go, here's my Chromebook, mom, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for being responsible about that. You know,
right?
or I'll walk into the room and I'll look at the Alexa and they don't have a timer and I'm like, "Hey buddy, how long have you been playing?" Because I don't see a timer and they'll go, "Oh, I'm sorry. I've been playing for like, you know, half an hour." So then they'll turn an hour and a half, you know, on the, you know, thing. And they're like, "Okay." Like they don't give me a lot of feedback anymore. I did had to be firm about that in the beginning because of course, you know, they look for the loopholes. And so in the
Oh,
beginning we
same.
had a rule of, you know, like if I bust you without a timer, you have to get off and you're done for the day. Like
Yeah. Well, and
so
and that's the part about setting those boundaries, like, in the beginning of it, like, it's gonna seem harsh
yeah.
because you're taking something away from them, and you're gonna get the pushback, and we ran into the same thing, and because, you'd be like, "Hey, it's time for dinner, or it's time to get off." I'm like, "Well, let me get to the next save point."
Yeah.
Okay, 30 minutes later, and it's like, even I know it doesn't take 30 minutes to get to a safe point.
Right,
Like,
right.
come on,
We're like,
you
"Hey,
know?
come on now."
Yeah. So you get to that point, but it's about, like, conditioning them,
Mhm.
which is important because, now since it shuts off at 5, they're like, "Oh, crap, it's 4:50. I better get to a safe point. I
Yeah,
better do this." Now they're paying attention to the time because they're paying attention, "Okay, I wanna be able to get X, Y, and Z in before my time's up." So
right.
they're learning time management right now while respecting those certain boundaries,
Yeah.
and so what we're working on right now is plug the freaking device in when you're done with it, like, start
Yes.
charging it, so it's
That
that important,
that can be a
it's important.
problem, especially, like, with the tablets and the controllers because it's so easy for them to get, like, knocked onto the floor, and the technology is fragile, so it'll get messed up
Yeah,
and broken,
yeah.
and I'm like, "These are expensive. I can't spend $60 for a new controller, so you better take care of, like,
Right?
your controller." And we even went so far with the PlayStation is that we got every member of our family a different color controller, and you know which one is my youngest son's because his is the one that the joysticks are kind of wonky on because he's real rough on them. Luckily, my husband can fix that.
Right?
But you know, it's like and it's just like just talk with them, like have
Yeah,
conversations about it because they're like I find out all kinds of things that they've picked up at public school by just having different conversations about things that I'm noticing and trends that I'm noticing and I'll ask them questions and or if I see that they're starting to lean towards using technology irresponsible or showing that addictive behavior again or trying to sneak around the rules. I'm like, this is the reason that we have the rules that we do. It's not that we're trying to make life boring and unfun and control you and totally restrict you. The internet is an amazing thing. It is also incredibly dangerous, and it's our
yeah,
job to protect you so that you can have as
yeah.
innocent a childhood as possible while we're teaching you about the things that you are going to have to face someday to get you ready because we're not always going to be here. There's going to be a day when you have to make these decisions on your own and we want you to be as prepared as possible.
And it's about informing them and not scolding them,
Yeah.
really, because when they're informed about it and let them make mistakes,
Mhm.
just let them so that way you can correct them. Like the other night,
Right.
the other night when we were asleep, we were watching a movie and we all fell asleep. And I thought we'd all fallen asleep. Well, we woke up in the middle of the night and Carlos was watching he was watching it, I think it was YouTube on one of the tablets,
Mhm.
but how we busted him was, uh, Sherry Sherry woke up and started moving around, and it's dead silent, and the next thing we know is we hear the Xbox turn on, and it went beep beep, and it was like, "Why did the Xbox turn on?" And the tray opens up, and what happened was he got busted. He was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna get busted," and he tried to smoothly slide the tablet on top of the Xbox, and when he did, he hit the eject button on the tray, and it gave him away.
Oh,
So,
man.
and this was like 2 in the morning, so it's just like he's 14. It's like he obviously couldn't sleep. He had something
Yeah.
on his mind. He wasn't looking up anything bad, but it's
No,
just
it was
like
just
he was
yeah,
on our tablet too, but it was accessible to him. It was right
yeah,
there next to him, so it's like that's our bad. It's like, but that when those moments happen, it's like it's a teaching moment for
yeah,
sure, but it's also a test to see, are they responsible, and what I saw in that moment wasn't the fact that he was on a device when he shouldn't have been. I'm actually just proud that he was looking up innocent stuff and
yeah,
not being, devious or anything.
yeah.
So
Well, and it's hard, because when you sit down and you have those conversations about, this is why it's dangerous, this is why it's unhealthy for your brain, because these are not realistic expectations and behaviors and relationships. And, this isn't the way that it's supposed to be. And, we had the porn conversation with the two that had blundered onto it. And and one of them was just like, I feel ruined. I've let this into my brain. And I'm like, no, buddy, you're not ruined. You made a mistake. And it's a common, like, hole that people find themselves in. It's just so readily available. And yeah, those images are going to be in your brain for a while. So, like, now what you have to do is, when those images do come up, you push them away and you replace them with something else. And eventually, if you're not giving them time and attention and energy, they're going to go away, and they're not going to be as ever present in your mind. You just
Yeah.
program it, purposefully program it away.
Yeah, and that's so important, to give them those tools and exercises
Hmm.
to really work through that, because it's there's one thing about protecting our kids, but when they're exposed to things, that's where it's important for us to step in and
Yeah.
teach them how to navigate through it. And so that way they're not ignoring what's going on, but it's a
Right.
realization of it's a part of life. It's normal to feel this way. It's okay to feel this way. But this is how you change your mindset in these moments. And they learn to do that when they feel emotions. They might feel the emotion,
Yeah.
accept the emotion, but if they get angry, find a way to cope with it. Don't turn to a device or turn to a game or turn to something unhealthy, but turn your energy into something that's more physical, more passionate for you. Something that kind of gives you that breakaway
Right.
of from technology itself, because it can really enhance what you're going through and what you're feeling and make it worse.
Depending on what content you're absorbing. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you're looking up things like maybe you're angry and you're looking up things on the internet that kind of correlate with that anger, and when you do that, it starts programming your algorithm. And
Hmm.
so it starts showing you things on that nature that get deeper into that and deeper into those feelings. And when you start doing that, then it starts feeding you more and more and more of that emotion
Hmm.
within itself. And so it's important that we're very careful and we have healthy ways that's outside of technology to
Yeah.
balance everything, right? It's like with the inner child challenge that we talk about, and what we were like
Yeah.
last month we were talking about like games and stuff. So I have an experience about our inner child to share with you, and I challenge you guys to really do this and to really get in touch with your inner child. Well, we were at the library today, and our library. So Carlos has been. I've been at the library freaking all week long, like almost every day. Like they had this program where it was a build a skateboard, and you
Oh,
got to go.
cool.
Yeah, you got to go in, you got to paint it, and like they varnish it, you put the trucks on it, the grip tape, and like you get this full skateboard. But it was a
Yeah.
4-day commitment, and they were there for 3 hours each day. Now, I'm not gonna drop my 14-year-old off at the library, leave, and come back and pick him up in 3 hours. I
Yeah.
love them, I trust them, but no. So I've spent
Again, it's those other people, it's the strangers that you don't
Yeah.
trust. It's yeah.
So I've been sitting at the library for 3 hours every day this week so far, and I've gotten a lot of stuff done. I actually took a nap one time. They had a really comfy chair, but it's a cool library though, because it's not one of those that you have to and be quiet. Like you can
Mhm.
actually talk and have fun, and it's an interactive
Yeah.
library. Well, it was me and the girls were waiting for Carlos while he was doing his thing and finishing up in his board today, and we were playing board games because they have board games that you can check out.
Oh,
Well,
cool.
Carly got Jenga. Now it's Jenga Boom. Have you played that one? The one that explodes?
No, I haven't.
It's fun. It's real fun, but they didn't see it coming, and so we stacked it. We were playing with it. Well, you pull this cord like dynamite, and over time it pops, and the whole thing explodes all over the table. And so we're in the library. All computers
Oh.
right behind us are full of kids playing video games and stuff. and we're at this table, and it goes off, and this whole thing just goes pop, and wood blocks fly up all over the wood table.
Oh
Everybody looks
no.
at us. I'm laughing. Amara's laughing. Carly's looking like she's embarrassed. Like she is embarrassed of all of it. And I was like, let's play again. She's like,
Ah.
no. And I'm like, are you embarrassed? And she's like, kinda. I'm like, why? It's like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
fun.
yeah.
And Amara was like, you'll never enjoy life if you just get embarrassed over things. So she was like, "All right." So we played again, and she had a lot of fun. And just as it finished, he came out with his board and he was done. But it was just that moment of like, I can either let you shy away from this, or like, who cares? Like, let's
Yeah,
just have fun, you know? And
yeah.
it's been used because that box that it came in is tattered. We're not the first ones to play with it. You
No,
know, so it's just
no.
those in-person moments of my inner child was excited, I was happy, and I encouraged them to really, like, get in touch with their inner child at that moment,
Yeah,
so my outer adult was there, but my inner child was definitely, like, shining in that moment, and it was fun, and I've been in a real funk these last couple weeks,
yeah,
and I've been making, like, a lot of major shifts in what I've been doing and where I've been going in the direction I've been on, so that's something I've been really navigating myself.
yeah,
So, I really needed this, I think, in this moment when to have that, but it was powerful because I got to share it with the kids, and I got to have, the little one come out of her shell more and just be like, "There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're a projector. You're meant to be seen having fun. You're meant to be seen
yeah,
doing your thing, and it's okay to be seen in
yeah.
moments of joy, So it was a very good experience for us.
That's cool. Yeah, we've done a few things. We do a classic video game day. Like it's usually like Friday or Saturday, where like the only games that we play are like from the older systems. Like especially on the Switch because they have like games from like Super Nintendo and GameCube and like all of those like really old
Oh,
systems.
yeah.
So it's been fun to watch the see the kids like reacting to like the really old school games because they're like, oh my gosh, these graphics, and I'm like, I know we lived in the Stone Age, like, or doing like arts and crafts or playing a board game or like a make believe game, and then actually like I went and spent the night at my best friend's house, and we had like a grown-up girls pool party, but we were all being goofballs and acting like kids and just like teasing each other and heckling each other and just being ridiculous and just having fun. So
And yeah, and that's it's so important that we have that because we all go through so much shit in our life,
yeah,
and
like you've got to have some time to like cut loose and play and relax.
yeah, and don't just wait for vacation time to do it. Like you can
Yeah,
still do it with the family, with your friends, with yourself. It's just very important that we give that to us.
yeah,
So, make sure you tune into your inner child and make sure that you tune in and give your inner child an opportunity to experience life, enjoy life, whether it's video games, skateboarding, reading, whatever it
yeah,
is that your heart desires. Allow that joy and laughter to just be a huge part of your life, and you absolutely won't regret it. We and That's what's something we want to challenge you. And if you want to share your stories with us, please feel free to. You can message us on here. You can email us
yeah,
as well. Or if you have certain topics that you would like to have covered, then we would love to hear any suggestions from you.
yeah.
And
We'll throw them in our rotation, and even if you're watching the replay, like it's not too late to comment and start like interacting with us. We love that. So
absolutely, and we'll be back on August 15th.
yeah, we're doing attachment theory and trauma bonding. That'll be a really good conversation because, man, I know I've had some experiences in that realm. Whoo, that's a rough
Me
one.
too. And I
And
this is something that I think I am currently navigating through in a certain area of my life right now.
yeah,
So this really kind of play hits home for me at this moment.
Yeah, I've been doing some deep diving in like my therapy and my shadow work, and like really rooting out where some of those trauma bonds were in the past, and what my attachment style, is presently compared to what it was back then, and kind of looking at the growth and the healing that's happened along the way, and also, like seeing how much farther I have to go, because it can be a lifelong process depending on, what you've experienced, and what you've gone through, and the impact that it's had. So, but it is
Exactly.
it is good work. I'm doing the good work. And then
Every
we
day,
also have, oh
every day.
yeah, oh yeah, we have a ton of resources in the description this time. There's a couple of research articles, so you can kind of see like what the discussion is about safely using technology, and communicating with your kids through and about technology. We have a couple of websites that give you like information on statistics, and then there's a couple of PDF booklets that have information about like dangers on social media and video games, and options for how you can protect and more safely monitor like what your kids are consuming, or what they're watching, or what they're interacting with. And then there was actually we'll probably add one more link, because there was a really cool video that Josh found that we want to share with you guys. So we'll tack that into the description, so you can find that too.
It's an hour investment, but it's
Oh, it's
absolutely
worth
worth
it.
it.
It's a fabulous presentation. Like,
I've watched
yeah,
it twice now. So
nice.
yeah, I got sucked into it. I was like, there was stuff I missed. I was like, I gotta check this out.
Yeah, yeah, no, there's a lot of information in it, but it's good information. Some of it is very startling information.
Yeah.
Like the reality of it is like, whoa, okay,
Yeah. It's crazy. So it's just the evolution of it. So
yeah.
we appreciate you guys being here with us, joining us. If you are gonna listen on the replay of it, then that's awesome. Again, any feedbacks uh, appreciated on any of it, and we will see you guys on August 15th. So here's to our evolution and growth within this world.
Woot. See you guys next time.